Hi everybody, it's the Insane Gamer here. How y'all doing? I act like I'm popping my collar even though I have no collar because I'm at home, I'm not at work, and this ain't a job. But I'm still trying to get paid. Oh shit. I haven't really done a traditional video in a while, so I feel like it's overdue. It's about that time again. And with the release of Labo, release of God of War, and I think our next big Nintendo game being essentially a DK port of Tropical Freeze, and I ain't about that life, I figured let's talk about some ports that I think truly should come and truly should be added to the Switch library, because if we're talking about games that really needed a push, listen, I understand that DK Tropical Freeze is an amazing game. To me, there were other games that sold worse than it that deserved the push before it, especially because I already think that DK Tropical Freeze as a port is a pretty half-ass effort, if that. So, I got 3 games for you, and we'll do these in orders. The first one I have for you is a game known as Fatal Frame. All right, we have no physical version. Fatal Frame 5. And I'm actually going to include other Fatal Frames on this with it, because here's the deal for those who don't know. Fatal Frame originally was not a Nintendo IP. I think it is officially now. Like, it was partially bought. I think Nintendo has joint ownership of the license. Either joint or partial ownership of the license with Koei Tecmo. So, like, literally, I think ever since the Wii era, around the Wii or GameCube era, Nintendo did that. Technically, Fatal Frame is essentially another Nintendo IP. It's also a Nintendo IP that barely gets seen outside of Japan because they don't fucking push it. We had, I think we have five Fatal Frame games. They did the 4th one on the Wii. They did a remake of either 2 or 1 on the Wii, and then you had 5 that came out on the Wii U. Of those 3 games, America has only seen 5 because America didn't see 4 and we didn't see the fucking remake. I think the remake did come out, and I think one of those games came out in Europe, but it was another one of those situations that happened with 5 where something got censored out of it. Because fuck me, right? That's exactly what we want. Here's the thing, Nintendo, if you have the IP, do something with the IP. It's aggravating as fuck that, like, you gave us 5, digital only in America, by the way, because in Europe, they actually got the game in a case they could take home and put it on their counter. We didn't get to fucking do that. We just had to sit there and struggle. It's not like you couldn't retool Fatal Frame 5 for the Switch, because you have all your components right there. And if any, I don't know how they feel about Fatal Frame, like, because Fatal Frame is kind of a weird franchise. It's essentially like a horror shooting game that has no gun. Like, Fatal Frame is shooting, but like in the camera sense of taking pictures and shit. But it functions like a gun in the context of the game, and because Joy-Cons have motion control, and you could do all that shit in handheld mode, it's like, it's not a game that I think would be a pain in the port. I just think they need to give Fatal Frame a legit push. If you've seen that Japanese-centric games can do well here in the States, it does not make any fucking sense. Fatal Frame is like this weird IP that you bought, you partially own, and do nothing with. It's not even like, you know, the other IPs where you had these successful fucking games under your belt and then you just couldn't think of anything else to do. This is literally a case of, I went and bought the IP, put out like 3 games from it under the Nintendo umbrella, and then like never addressed it again. And it was like, it wouldn't hurt for you guys to just address the game, and what I prefer for them to do is put out that remake. Just give me a bundle. Give me a fucking bundle. That's what I would personally prefer. The biggest caveat with Fatal Frame, though, is since they got the rights to Fatal Frame late, they would still, it's like, okay, well, you own the 4th and 5th game are like Nintendo exclusive. 1 through 3 are on other Sony platforms, and I think Sony, I don't even think they put it on Xbox, but they did Xbox also. So the first 3 games that be put over, and they only did a remake of one of those games, so there's two games that don't have a Nintendo representation. So for me personally, I would say the best thing to do is maybe announce like an HD collection of the older games, and then maybe like a full-on remake of one of them. Like 5, doesn't need a remake. I mean, a port would be fine for 5 because 5 isn't that old. But the other games, you know, they'd be nice. Especially because Fatal Frame 5 is even older in Japan than it is in America. Like in America, it came out like, what, 2-3 years later after it came out. Japan, it was like a year 1 title, if I remember correctly. And then we just never fucking saw it in the States. Although the problem I have is that the reason why I think that game even came out in the States is just because of the lack of titles they had for North America. Was like, we don't really have a lot to put out on the Wii U this year. Well, fuck it. We'll do a localization of Fatal Frame 5. Although they dumped Fatal Frame 5, which was shocking, especially because the next game on my list is kind of crazy they dumped Fatal Frame 5. But Fatal Frame, period, needs to get a Switch port, because I would definitely buy that day one. The next game on my list is a game I actually do have a case for, and actually had a special edition for, which is still boxed up in my closet. But I brought out the normal edition, because yes, I own this game twice because of some shit that happened. Tokyo Mirage Sessions Sharp FE, which a lot of you originally know by the title Shin Megami Tensei Cross Fire Emblem. Now, I know people have issues with this game for a multitude of different reasons, primarily because this game was initially announced and pushed as a fucking crossover game, as a Shin Megami Tensei Cross Fire Emblem game. We didn't hear about it for, what was that, 3 years we didn't hear? I think it was 2 years we didn't hear about it. And then when it came up a game, it essentially became this weird anime crossover. And you know what makes me mad about this particular situation with this game? The game is good. The game is so fucking good. And it suffers. It suffers because of its original marketing. Also, considering how well Xenoblade sold in the anime games we've been getting, like we're getting One Piece and the Naruto trilogy and Attack on Titan and My Hero Academia, you can't tell me we ain't got no motherfucking weebs that would indulge in this shit. SNK heroines. You can't tell me we ain't got motherfuckers who wouldn't indulge in this game. Because I think this game suffered primarily because of the marketing leading up to it. Because it's a good-ass RPG. It's such a good-ass turn-based RPG. It has such a good mechanic. The battle system is so good. And the game suffers. Well, actually, it suffered for 2 different reasons. So, not only did the game suffer because of its marketing, the game also ended up suffering because it was another one of those fucking games that came out in Japan like, what was that, like 6-7 months before it came out in the US. And and let's not forget, it was another game that suffers from censoring with the fucking costumes and the weird changes to the cutscenes. And it's like, bruh. Also, this game is in Japanese only, which is another one of those, like, it's not a terrible thing, but I know how people get about their dubs and their subs. And even though people can shit talk the hell out of Xenoblade 2's dub, it has a dub. It's kind of weird that your crossover title doesn't have a dub for it, but your niche-ass game franchise that you partially own with Koei Tecmo got a dub? Alright, it's a little random and weird. Fine, game. You spend all this fucking time censoring cleavage, but you couldn't give us an English dub? Alright, fine. Tokyo Mirage Sessions is a so much better game than what people give it credit for. And I really think it just suffered because of the period of time it was announced, talked about, and released. That game just had a shit run from jump. From the moment it was fucking fully revealed what it was going to be, at that point it killed anybody's interest in the game. And the game is such a good RPG, and it's not like the Switch has a bunch of those right now. It totally deserves to have another life. Because once again, just like Fatal Frame, I know that motherfucker didn't break 1 million. Hell, I don't even think it probably broke 500,000 at this point. Because Tokyo Mirage Sessions is a niche-ass game that had a troubled history. You know what? Let's look it up real quick. Let's look up to see if Tokyo Mirage Sessions... How much did Tokyo Mirage Sessions sell? Because I don't think it was much. How much did you sell, Tokyo Mirage Sessions? You sold you sold like 1/3 of a million. You sold about 330,000, which, to be fair, is not terrible. It's just not great by any stretch of the imagination, which is a fucking shame. It's a goddamn shame. And ironically enough, it's a game that sold best in North America. North America bought over 100, almost 200,000 of the game sales was in North America alone. But of course, this is a Japanese game, so I think that one's another one that really deserves another shot. And I know a lot of people are going to ask me, why isn't Wonderful 101 on this list? Because I'm telling you now, it's not. Wonderful 101 is primarily not on this list because that's like literally the poster child. And look, I truly believe Wonderful 101 deserves it, but at this point it's just fucking redundant, especially with some of the new reports about how Kamiya is definitely pushing for a Wonderful 101 port. I'd be fucking down for that. I'd be completely down for that Wonderful 101 port. Are we gonna get it? I don't fucking know. But dead ass, I'd be completely down for a Wonderful 101 port. But that's not the game I want to push. The game I'm going to push might be a little bit surprising for some of you, but I think you may end up agreeing in the long run. Since we don't know what Nintendo plans to do from this point moving forward, it wouldn't hurt to give this game a true fair shake and not have it suffer because of just one particular design choice. Oh, shit. Oh, I notice if I do this, I look darker than usual. African Americans in our color contrast, god damn it! God fucking damn it. Yeah, Star Fox Zero. And I think this one makes a lot of logical sense. I don't think this would be too hard to really understand, but I'll go ahead and explain it anyway. Star Fox Zero was supposed to be the triumphant return of Star Fox. Star Fox hadn't had a new game in the series since, what was that, the GameCube? When was the last game? Was it Assault? No, I guess if you count the remake, then it would be the Star Fox 64 3D on the 3DS. That would have been the last Star Fox representation. And it's kind of obvious they still want to push Star Fox to some degree anyway. I just can't. I just don't see why not, I guess is the whole point here. Star Fox Zero suffers primarily due to its control scheme. Because although the game has its issues about reusing levels and essentially being another fucking reboot and its redundancy issues, I think people would have forgave a lot of that if the game played traditionally. And look, I played the game the way it was. I own the fucking game. I played the game you were meant to fucking play it. I just realized that if you can sit here and port other titles, Star Fox, I think, truly deserves it. Because I feel like if Nintendo is going to use Zero as the baseline of whether or not... Because it seemed like they really wanted to push Zero. It just, unfortunately, felt like they put the money in the wrong place. It's like... Because the original concept for Zero was based off an old Wii idea that they took with Platinum Games to make it this amalgamation. And to be fair, it works pretty well. If you get good at Star Fox Zero's control scheme, it's really fun. It just asks a lot of the player, and for a lot of people, it's just not worth it, especially because of how arcadey Star Fox is. It feels like a lot of work for a game that the main campaign, like a one straight playthrough is like, what, 4 hours, if that? It doesn't feel like it's worth the time or effort to have a gameplay style that convoluted. And it to me is a disappointment to hamper a game like that. And like I said, if we don't know where the IP is gonna go, it wouldn't hurt to retool the game. You and Platinum have a working relationship. Retooling the game to work with just normal button configuration, you can still keep the motion controls because, hey, look, you have a system and controllers that use gyro. So it's not like you have to get rid of everything. Just turn it into a traditional motion control game instead of this weird amalgamation of this is what the Wii U can truly do. Because like I said, I think Star Fox deserves that. I think that IP deserves a lot more than it's been currently treated. And I think that if nothing else, as much as I love Wonderful 101, as much as I hate to admit it, I probably could deal with it not getting a port right now, especially with Bayonetta 2 and one port just coming out, and Bayonetta 3 on the way. I could take not getting another Platinum game right now. Ironically enough, as I said, this is a game that's also co-developed by Platinum. But Star Fox is a completely different story. I think it deserves it more, which is why I put it over Wonderful 101. Although I have no grievances with Wonderful 101 getting a re-release, because I would play the shit out of those. And these are 3 games, or 4 kind of, that I would totally rebuy. Hell, I would pre-order day fucking one. If they announced any of these three, I would pre-order day one, and I would replay them all straight out. Granted, they had to be respectful fucking ports and not this lazy bullshit ass thing we've been getting with DK and Bayonetta to a lesser degree. I still think DK is the worst. I know a lot of people are going to say Captain Toad. DK to me is still the worst. Anyways, that's all I got. Please leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Which Wii U game would you truly be down for a day one buy if it was announced tomorrow or today that it was getting a re-release on Switch? Because I think these three games totally deserve it. And I'll be honest with you, I'm just mad that you put DK and fucking Captain Toad over these titles. Because both of those games sold over 1 million. Do they deserve more sales? Sure. But over these three, I would have told you could have shelved. I would have told you could shelve Bayonetta 1 and 2 for a little bit. Especially because 3's not coming out this year. You could have shelved all those fucking games. Bayonetta 1 and 2, DK, Captain Toad. What's the other one I'm missing? I think those are the three that came out this year so far. They're coming out this year that are the issue. You could have shelved all three of those games and gave me Fatal Frame 5, Switch Edition, Tokyo Mirage Session, Switch Edition, Star Fox Zero, Switch Edition. Those would have all three been better fucking choices. But I'm not Mr. Nintendo. I'm not Mr. Kimishima at the top. So we'll see what happens. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. This has been the Insane Game Freak. I will catch you guys later. Peace. Oh.